Seems to be getting harder, distinguishing reality from the illusions people make for us, or from the ones we make for ourselves. I don't know, maybe that's part of the plan, to make me think I'm crazy.
I'm gonna just say it. There's a reason the Boondocks never truly came back. And it's not for the reasons you're probably thinking. And it's not just because of production delays, network politics, or changing cultural tides. The truth might be a lot more existential to the show. The series had already said everything it needed to say, and the world had caught up to its warnings. In an interview with Vice, creator McGruder confessed exactly this. "I've done political satire for so long that I have said everything I've wanted to say. Politics don't interest me anymore. I just checked out of the whole thing. I don't want to watch Uncle Ruckus run for president." It sounds almost like a sick joke until you remember that Uncle Ruckus, the grotesque, self-hating caricature, wasn't a far-fetched cartoon anymore. When the late Herman Cain became a serious Republican frontrunner, McGruder saw the line between satire and reality collapse. And hell, this was him promoting his Uncle Ruckus movie he was planning to make, which, if you know from the previous video I put out, is kind of a sign that this whole project was kind of a half-hearted attempt at trying to come back, as the level of political satire that's needed to write Ruckus is kind of insane, especially with the line of satire and reality delicately broken. And once that line's gone, what else can a satirist even do, really? With the rise of increasingly more absurd realities coming to head in America and the rest of the world, it likely began to feel like all of his work was becoming redundant and uncomfortably close to reality. It's for that exact reason that you often see people in comment sections of YouTube videos for the show, or anything related to it, saying, "Oh wow, this is basically a documentary." I really think that McGruder didn't simply run out of jokes, he ran out of distance from satire to reality. And maybe that's the ultimate punchline. The Boondocks didn't fail to come back because it was irrelevant. It couldn't come back because it was just too right. Hey guys, just a quick reminder to drop a like and a comment on what you think of the Boondocks. Do you think that a new Boondocks could have said even more with these crazy times, or is it impossible for there to be satire made of it? Let me know below. The show was a warning to viewers of what culture and society can become when left totally unchecked, not merely as something to laugh at alone. And to support this, at his C-SPAN talk for Black youth and media, he spoke of how people from other countries couldn't understand why America didn't rise up against their government, to which he said,
"Why is there no armed revolution like we had in Cuba? Simple. Americans have television and drugs. We're a little comfortable, but we don't have it so bad that we're ready to pick up a gun. We don't even have it so bad that we're ready to go to jail. Everyone's getting their information from mass media. 90%. It's coming from there. So if it's not on TV, it doesn't exist. It's irrelevant. I can't knock on your door and say, 'Brother, sister, join the revolution.' You will laugh at me."
And the only way to get them to listen was through humor. The Boondocks from its very conception was meant to be much more than just a simple comedy that spammed the N-word. It was prophetic. Not in some too deep for you kind of way though, or one of those shallow The Simpsons predicted it moments. It painted exaggerated but uncomfortably accurate pictures of American culture, whether it was through Huey's deadpan revolutionary critiques, or Ruckus's hilariously but incredibly emblematic of a lot of self-hating black racism. The show worked because it pointed at things we hadn't fully accepted yet as norms of society. They were outliers to laugh at that point. Most people knew what Uncle Ruckus. They didn't want to be him, but they felt free to laugh at him here. The absurdities, the hypocrisies, the buried ugliness of race and class in America. It was meant as a rallying call to action in case these people were ever normalized. Don't just look at them as entertainment or drama like Trump and Elon Musk breaking up on TV. While it is admittedly kind of funny and entertaining, we all need to act on these kinds of things in life. We can't just stand by and laugh.
I mean, we all need to, do some shit sometime. You know what I'm saying? Some shit needs to get done. And until we do that shit ain't gonna change.
Now the world is a Boondocks episode. Donald Trump became a president a second time despite all of his controversies. P. Diddy was cheered on by his fans while under investigation for crimes and was fully freed recently. Grifters, influencers, and open bigots all have podcasts with millions of followers. Woke is used unironically in Senate debates. Uncle Ruckus isn't just a parody anymore. He has a verified account and sponsorship deal. It's not just that satire feels unnecessary. It feels impossible, because how do you properly parody what's already incredibly ridiculous?
You still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking?
How do you make someone laugh at absurdity when absurdity is the daily news cycle? And even worse, most openly applaud it like some might have when the Boondocks aired, finding the insanity to be more entertaining than anything else. And while McGruder knew this was an inevitability of his satire, because ultimately he did want to entertain first, I doubt he really expected the reality to become so absurd that people would cheer on that more so than the message he had. That might be why McGruder shifted away. At one point, he was developing a live-action Uncle Ruckus movie, as I mentioned, a project that felt more like an experiment in survival and less so satire. As even in the promotional article I mentioned previously, he was definitely trying to distance himself from politics, so this was likely just him trying to come back with something that was a little lighter and more stupid, potentially pandering to his lowest common denominator fanbase. So I'm kinda glad that fell through, because how do you joke about a man who hates his own blackness when we now live in an internet age where real people echo Ruckus's sentiments sincerely and get rewarded for it? When the Boondocks aired its most iconic episodes, The Trial of R. Kelly, Return of the King, those ideas were still provocative. The show held up a mirror and forced people to flinch. Now, the mirror is everywhere, and most people just shrug it off. Or worse, they laugh with Ruckus instead of at him, along with any of the other insanity that would have happened in Boondocks or a reboot. So maybe the silence that McGruder has in the media scene, not producing anything more than the Boondocks reboot, which he took very long to write and was no doubt a hard task for him, so he kinda stopped for that reason, was McGruder's weird final act of satire. In a world that insists on becoming more absurd than fiction, the only radical thing left to do for somebody like him is to say nothing and hope everything he said in the Boondocks is now looked at with a more critical eye, and that people, instead of laughing along with the madness of the world, take to it like Huey would. And while the Boondocks was and still is undeniably an incredibly funny and entertaining show that was certainly meant to entertain first above all else, and in spite of recently coming under increased scrutiny, this partially due to Aaron McGruder's style of blunt in-your-face satirical humor, particularly his handling of racism, you were clearly not meant to laugh with, but at, the show stands the test of time as a cartoon that had its finger on the cultural pulse long before others, almost perfectly depicting the insanity we currently live in, and now, more so than ever, rings true to the idea that we can't just sit by and laugh. While it was easy in the early days to simply write off a character like Huey as a simple self-insert, a morally self-righteous Lisa Simpson of the Boondocks, and while he certainly is that to a degree for McGruder, you can't really blame him for wanting to use him as a soapbox to tell people to finally act. There's no mistake in the fact that you're seeing more people compare the show to things happening now in modern America.
I did battle with ignorance today, and ignorance won.
Oh,
That's all.
I feel you, Huey. I feel you, man. Boy, ain't that a shame? Life is a cartoon.